In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we invite you to take a look in the mirror and run your own race. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast. Hope you're all doing well today. We're actually out in Lanzarote at the moment on our location studio, can you believe? And I just wanted to share with you a quick edition of the podcast here because there's been a few inspiring things been going on in the community, in the Growth Hub in the last month. And I just wanted to share them with you from going to the Managed Service Summit a couple of weeks ago and listening to Sally Gunnell. We had our 2-day event with our clients, which is called The Intensive, where they come, connect, we do some coaching, we do a lot of reflection, we do some looking at their businesses and their performance. And the thing that we're hearing an awful lot of people is that not necessarily MSP business owners are scared, but they don't know what's the next step they need to take to help them grow their business to get more time, more money, more freedom, and more choice as well. So come on, it's time to get out of your own way. And, this podcast for everyone who knows they need to do something to grow their MSP, but they don't know where to start and they don't know what to do. So look, we have this intensive 3 times a year. It lasts for 2 days. Everybody comes together. Last time there were about 45 people in the room. It was absolutely brilliant event. Not only the feedback, but the results were absolutely unbelievable and incredible. And, what we're not talking about here is people who are just so die-hard, serious serial entrepreneurs who are, driving business, working. They're not. They've just been deliberate. They've just been focused. They've been calm. They've been measured. They're recruiting the right people. They're operating their sales in the right way. And some of the results are just mind-blowing. There's one guy who actually put 41%. He put over 100 grand a year in the last year on his bottom line in clear net profit. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Why or how? He was just deliberate around closing business, around putting his prices up properly and operating a proper account management process that added value to his clients. And one thing, things that we're hearing is I should have done this years ago. Well, unfortunately, Stuart and I weren't doing this years ago, so you couldn't have done that anyway. And that's one thing. But it's always a thing to look in the mirror. If you're unhappy or you're just getting stuck and you don't know where to start, then that can play on your mind quite a little bit. Marketing. We did a whole session. I did a 2-hour training on how to land more clients in your new client runway. But people are just not consistent enough. And the reason they're not consistent enough with marketing is because they don't understand all the different bits and pieces that they need to do. And also, as a techie business owner, it's kind of like not your happy place. So you're not going to be going out there and putting great pieces of content together and talking in a non-technical manner and building processes together and CRMs and stuff because it's not, it's not your happy place. We had a few people that their businesses had just plateaued. And they just sort of thought, do you know what? I'm getting bored of this now. I either want to sell it, I want to let someone else do it because I've just lost interest, or I'm going to do something about it. And so we had some really inspiring stories from a couple of our clients actually who've been with us for about a year now, and they're just rejuvenated. They've got more energy, more buzz. Their team love coming to work. They've got their vision out. They know exactly where they're going, and it's so inspiring to hear. And I've kind of almost got goosebumps on my arms just talking about this now. As I say, there's a couple of people that have fallen out of love with their business. The one thing that really resonated with Julie, who's one of our leadership coaches, was she was talking to someone and they said, I have not had a holiday since 2017. Not had a holiday for 5-6 years. That's like crazy, and it's just like, you're running your own business because you want to enjoy it. You want to have the freedom. It's an amazingly profitable model. The end result is you get this nice little sell-off. If you build it correctly and build that monthly recurring revenue up nicely, guess what happens? You get yourself a nice payout at the end of it. So what do we do then in these sessions, and what have we kind of like learned? We talked about your why and what's the point. Simon Sinek does a great job on this, but bringing it into the MSP space. Why do you do what you do? What's the point of doing what you're doing? Is it for your family? Is it for your own personal income? And it's really understanding. Stuart did a great session on why it's important to know these things and really to reconnect yourself back with your own vision, personal vision, which will then reconnect you back into your business, and you'll get excited about it, and then you'll have more energy and you'll stay more focused on what you should be doing rather than getting distracted with every little shiny ball and every new little vendor system that comes up with a new little API and, I wonder how this works and I wonder how that works. So really understanding your why was important. We put up, this is the third time we've done this now, we've put up on the screen some analytics on some of the key metrics that we measure here at the Growth Hub for our clients' progress. And, putting 6 figures of profit in your business in a year is unbelievable. But how did he know that he did that? Well, because we run an exercise called the headline numbers, and it's quite in depth, and it shows exactly where your profitability is and where your best clients are and all of this kind of good stuff. And it's really important that we do that, and people know that, because if you don't know your numbers, and we talk about it so much time, if you don't know your numbers, how are you going to know where you need to make changes? How are you going to know what you need to do and what you need to focus on? But, one of the biggest things that we heard a lot of people talking about, just chatting as they're having a beer or having lunch or whatever it might have been, was just about how they've now built confidence to deal with poor performers in their team. And there's an awful lot. And it was almost like we'd opened up this can. And as soon as we'd opened up this can, this can of worms came out of, I've got some poor performers. There was one guy who's absolutely hilarious, said, I've got a guy who falls asleep every day. And it was like, what? Because this guy's just unengaged, but he does when he's awake, he actually does really good work. And we had a conversation, we structured a conversation with this guy, and he hadn't fallen asleep for a week now. I know you might be joking and you might be having a bit of a laugh and a giggle about this, but this was a serious issue, with this guy, because he was good when he was good, but he wasn't. But when he wasn't, he was just lazy. And it's just around, being a parent in the office and making sure that we've got the right people. There's so many poor performers, stories of people turning round poor performers and how that affects the culture and the employee engagement and the morale of the team and the energy in the office and all of that sort of stuff. And that just ends up leaking back out, doesn't it, to your clients as well. If your team are all a little bit peed off, then, that's going to come out in your CSAT scores, and it's going to be harder for you to push this thing uphill rather than trying to lead an energized and a cultured business and team, forwards. But as I mentioned earlier, we went to Managed Service Summit and we heard Sally Gunnell speak. She was so inspiring. It was amazing. I was a bit of a runner back in the day. And she was obviously into the hurdles, and she'd had quite an interesting, story and kind of in a brief 2-minute version of what she was saying. She was out there and she was in her mid-20s, and people were saying, well, you've only got until you're 30 to get this right and to get into the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games, or get the Commonwealth Games and then get into the 92 Olympics. And it was like, she just didn't feel worthy. And I thought, well, that's funny. I know some people who don't feel worthy. That's interesting. Very, very apt for the MSP community. So she was out there, racing, and she just suddenly decided that, or at that time in her life, that she needed to get someone to help her with her mindset because her body was only going so fast. So she got herself a sports psychologist involved. And, at that time, which I guess was going to be in the late 80s, everyone thought that was like a bit bonkers, really. Why do you need someone to sort your head out? It's your legs you need to run faster. Anyway, she got her headset, she got her mindset straight, and she was in the Commonwealth Games a couple of years before the 92 Olympics, and she was standing on the start line, and she was standing there with these people who were just so inspiring to be next to, some of the top athletes in her race, people she was trying to beat. And she looked across, and there was her coach standing there and a sports psychologist. And if you can do this now, this would be really good. He kind of put his two fingers next to his eyes, and he pointed it to her eyes and that kind of whole thing, I'm looking at you sort of thing. And what he said was, run your own race. Don't worry about the person to the left. Don't worry about the person to the right. Run your own race. And what ended up happening was she went off on this race. It was 400-meter hurdles. And in the last stretch, she just lost it. She didn't feel worthy. She said, I just didn't realize, didn't think I should have been there. And this other lady, her name slips my mind at the minute, she won the race. And basically, Sally went into the biggest huff you could possibly imagine, didn't talk to people for days because she let herself down, because she didn't think she was worthy. She didn't have the confidence, and she was not running her own race. She was being comparing herself to everybody else. She was comparing herself to all the other runners. Sound familiar? So 2 years later, she was in the Olympic Games, and she was there, and Daley Thompson, she was talking to Daley Thompson. He'd just taken gold. And she said to him, she goes, what advice have you got for me? And he said, well, it's quite simple, really. You've got one question. Where do you want to sit on the plane on the way home? She said, what? She goes, right, all the winners and the gold medalists are going to be sitting at the front. So when we come down at Heathrow and we stand on the stairs, we're going to be getting all those photographs taken of us. Do you want to be at the front of the plane, or are you going to sit on the back of the plane? And she said that absolutely spawned her on to run her own race, to really get focused. And she beat that rival in that race. It was absolutely incredible story. So look, let's get to the point. If this podcast so far has resonated with you, I want you to take away these top tips. Number one, I want you to be consistent and build a great but simple plan on what you need to do next for whichever part of the business you want to improve, whether it be your sales, whether it be your marketing, whether it be your team, whether it be your account management, whatever it might be. Just build a simple plan that you can stay on track, get someone to keep you accountable, and make sure that you're focused on that plan and you know what you need to do rather than be distracted. Focus. Follow one course until success, whatever cliche you want to use. Being focused and deliberate is where we see our most successful clients, and the most successful results is when they're deliberate, they're calm, they're focused, they've got a great team around them, but they're following a plan. Okay, so number two is about, kind of a little bit different. It's about being purposeful and deliberate every day. Now, this is kind of around being focused. But if you're going out there to a client, or you're going out there to prospect meeting, then make sure you've really, really, really prepared. Don't just treat it like another lead. We're seeing conversion rates in the Growth Hub of between 70 and 90% on leads coming in. Why is that? Because people are going out and being deliberate. So it's not just all about farming leads, farming sales, quick. Got to get all these people ringing up, filling in forms. It's not about that. If you get yourself into a really nice, tight niche, become relevant, become professional, become the expert in that niche, yes, leads will come towards you, but also you'll be closing more leads. And then when you go out and do your sales and marketing and your awareness and your expert status, because you're the technological lead in that area, when people come towards you, you'll be closing them as well. And it's absolutely ridiculous, the messages. I don't know what it's all about. It always happens on a Friday afternoon or Friday evening. I just get messages from clients. Hey, I've just sold another 110 seats. Hey, I've just sold another 70 seats. Hey, I've just sold another 50 seats. It was a breeze in the park. He filled the form out. It was like pushing an open door. Absolutely wonderful to hear. So be purposeful and deliberate, every single day. And the third thing is about building the best team that you can afford right now. Now, we hear so many times there's bottlenecks in businesses. We hear so many times there's bottlenecks in MSPs as they, move down, and it's about a level of trust and education and training. So do a skills matrix on where you want all your team to be, where they are now, where you want them to be, and how you're going to get them there. Now, we have also had quite a few conversations where we've got some toxic people and we need to get them out. And sometimes it's quite sad because they've been left in there over the 2-year period, which makes it quite hard in the UK to get rid of people. But, the success of your business will rely around the quality and the expertise of your team. So build the best team you can be. Don't put up with poor performers. Either spend more time with them and get them performing, or get rid of them, get them out, get rid of that toxicity. It is not going to serve you well in your business. So build the best team. So, look, this has been a bit of a longer break fix edition than I would normally have liked, but there's another couple of podcasts I want you to listen to. We just recently released, actually quite a new one here, with a guy called Matt Newton, who's an ex-7-figure MSP business owner. Episode 150 talked about Matt's story and why that's so important to connect. Really, really powerful. Go and listen to that one. And then also, we had our great friend, the Tech Tribe, Nigel Moore, episode 120, It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Talks a lot about mental health and about some of the blockers that stops people moving forwards. Really amazing story. But I guess what I just want to, offer out today on today's call is, if anybody's resonated with anything that we've talked about and you need a hand, you want to have a chat, then we'll put a link into the show notes. Just click the link and have a chat with myself and Stuart. It's not going to be a sales conversation. We're not going to be pushing you in, because this is about making sure that you're getting the right help for you right now. And that might be that we move you on to some of our other great friends, Richard Tubb or Paul Green or Mark Copeman or any of the other guys that are out there in the channel. It's about helping the right people at the right time. So if anything has resonated one bit with what I've been talking about today, then make that change. Put that step forwards. Come and have a chat. Let's see what we can do to help, and see if we can get you on some of our case studies, and see if we can get you up there in our shining lights with the MSP Growth Hub members of, putting 6 figures on your bottom line. I'm going to leave that to you now. I'm going to go and enjoy my breakfast with the family, sitting on a lovely veranda overlooking the beach in Lanzarote. I'm going to look forward to catching up with you guys soon. So you go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon. All the best now. So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform. If you want to learn more about how to take your MSP to $1 million, or if you're already there, go faster, then come and join Stuart Warwick and myself in the Scale with Confidence Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.